Since you're a Steam player, you might have heard of even played a game that is strikingly similar to Pokemon in genre. Yes, it's Palworld. This game has received mixed reactions from the player community due to its impressive seamlessly stitching of elements from Pokemon's creature designs, the survival and building mechanics of Ark Survival Evolved, and the open-world design of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Some players believe Palworld fills the void left by Game's fake Pokemon series in terms of intimate interaction with Pokemon, while others condemn the developer Pocketpair for their blatant copying, pointing out a history of plagiarism in their games, such as the alleged copying of numerous games in their 2020 release, Craftopia. However, Pocketpair's controversial practices have not deterred them from continuing to develop, or rather, copy. Following the success of Palworld, Pocketpair has released a playable demo of their new game, Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse, with plans for a full release soon. Today, let's analyze the game and see what elements it borrows from other games, and how it stacks up in terms of quality. Firstly, the visual style of Nevergrave is clearly medieval, and I won't beat around the bush. It bears a striking resemblance to Hollow Knight. Just how similar is it? If you were to cover up the protagonist with a hat and told me this was a map from Silk Song, I might not even question it.
Huh?
This similarity is not coincidental. Hollow Knight is known for its three distinct layers in the 2D environment, from foreground to background. Vegetation that obscures players' view, characters' sprites, and the distant scenery, which together creates a sense of depth. Additionally, both characters and enemies in Hollow Knight are outlined in stark black, which helps to highlight the subjects and makes it easier for players to focus on combat. Now, let's take a closer look at the trailer for Nevergrave, and you will find that both of these features are present. Moreover, both games infuse their maps with vibrant colors, associating different hills with distinct areas, and the attack animation are quite similar as well. Moving on from the visuals, let's discuss other aspects. The trailer for Nevergrave reveals that the character is essentially a magic hat that can summon a witch's body and control monsters to combat, even going so far as to willingly throw them in your pod to turn them into a feast. This concept might remind you of another game, Skull, the Hero Slayer. In Skull the Hero Slayer, the player controls a humanoid creature with a skull for a head, but the skull is actually these ends, and different skulls provide different appearance, weapon, attack styles, and skills. This concept of possession or control is also present in both Skull and Nevergrave, which are both action roguelike games. It's hard not to suspect that Pocketpair drew inspiration from Skull in their creation of Nevergrave. However, if we broaden our comparison beyond Steam to Nintendo's console, we find that the element of possession also appears in the classic game Super Mario Odyssey, which was released in 2017. In that game, players can throw their hats on the objects to possess them and use their skills, and the design of the hats in Nevergrave echoes this concept. In other words, Pocketpair may have actually drawn inspiration from Super Mario Odyssey rather than Skull in their game development. It seems that Pocketpair as a Japanese company is diligently learning from the strengths of other games, as evidenced by the presence of Nintendo's influence in their works. As an action roguelike, Nevergrave also borrows elements from Dead Cells. The scene in the demo's opening animation where the hat falls from great height and then falls on the ground immediately reminded me of Dead Cells. Additionally, the character's rolling animation is identical to that of Dead Cells. When you use the attack button to destroy a door, you can also stun the monsters on the other side, which is a feature taken from Dead Cells. I must admit that Pocketpair is quite diligent in learning from the strengths of other games. The question now is whether Nevergrave, with its blend of elements from Hollow Knight and Dead Cells, can replicate the success of Palworld before the release of Hollow Knight's sequel. Personally, I'm somewhat skeptical. Unlike Palworld, which focuses on open-world survival and construction, Nevergrave is marketed with the tags of metroidvania and action roguelike. Based on my demo experience, despite drawing from the strengths of Hollow Knight and Dead Cells, the game still has a significant amount of room for improvement. On the one hand, the art style of character and monsters doesn't match the game's environment. On the other hand, the fluidity of characters' movement is lacking. For example, you cannot use the attack button to interrupt a roll, meaning you cannot control the distance of your rolls. Additionally, you cannot cancel out-of-end attacks recovery animation with other actions, which lowers the game's operation ceiling and visual appeal. The second point is particularly critical for Nevergrave, as smoothness of controls is something that many players of action roguelikes and metroidvanias value highly. However, the demo content is limited, and whether the game can deliver surprises will have to be seen once it's officially released. Okay, that's all for this video. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this game. Please share your opinions in the comments, and I will see you next time.